And the Conservative Political Action Conference gets underway this morning, also known as CPAC. It's in Washington, D.C. The conference ends Saturday with a straw poll to endorse a Republican candidate. And at 7 a.m. Eastern today and tomorrow, Soledad O'Brien anchors Starting Point from that conference.
A friend of mine, Mike Opelka, just emailed me to say he's at CPAC. He said you can't swing a cat without hitting a blogger. They're all over the place.
And everybody's up, right?
We have plenty of news coming out of that conference as well. So listen, here's a big headline. He's in the money. I'm not going to sing it. Rick Santorum, though, raking in the money, over $1 million in just the last 24 hours, this after the big sweep on Tuesday night. And now he's campaigning in Super Tuesday states, and he's making a stop tomorrow at CPAC to try to court the GOP elite. But can he make his success last?
We're going to find out, right? Live from CNN Center in Atlanta, independent political analyst Goldie Taylor is joining us. From Washington, Ed Espinoza, Democratic political consultant. And also from Washington, we have Matt Mackowiak, Republican strategist. Thank you for joining us. We're talking all things Santorum today, you guys. So we're going to start with Ed here. We just heard that Santorum is headed to CPAC. He's going to be speaking tomorrow. All of the Republican elite will be there, right? And it's not just about votes. He needs some more money. He's on a momentum here. What does he have to say or do to prove that he can be the conservative alternative to Romney instead of Gingrich?
You know, one of the things that people say makes Romney a strong frontrunner is that he has the money and he has the organization to go the distance in a long primary. Santorum needs to be able to demonstrate that if he has the money, he too has the organization to go the distance. He's already demonstrated that he has the ability to win competitive races. What he now needs to do is demonstrate he's got the ability to keep doing it over time.
Now, we know that he raised $1 million in a 24-hour period, but is that enough to keep up with a Romney?
No, but if he can keep doing that every 24-hour period, yes.
All right, Matt, I want you to react to something that Santorum said. Let's listen and then we'll talk about it.
Sure.
The intolerance of the left, the intolerance of this secular ideology, it is a religion unto itself, just like we saw from the days of the atheists in the Soviet Union. It is completely intolerant of dissent.
All right, he went on to say that the left wants you to accept their view without questioning, and if you do question, they brand you as bigots and unfit for the public square. Independent votes are key here to the national election. How do you think that voters are going to react to that message?
Well, I don't think that's going to be a big part of his message if he is the nominee. It's not something I've heard from him. I've seen him speak in Iowa on the campaign trail, in South Carolina. And so we'll see. Look, part of Santorum's strength is that he has a core message. It does create excitement. He gives you something to be for. He's not running on an inevitability argument like Romney is. But obviously, he's going to have to moderate slightly, I think, if he becomes the nominee, to address electability questions. He is someone who did not have a successful last election in Pennsylvania in a very bad year. But he's also won statewide twice in a purple state like Pennsylvania. So for Santorum, he's got social conservatives, he's got evangelicals. He now needs to broaden that out. And as Ed was saying, his challenges are financial and organizational. And look, if you look forward, you have two huge primaries on February 28th, which follows the CNN debate on February 22nd in Arizona. You then have a number of states on Super Tuesday, and basically every Tuesday and every Saturday in March has a contest. So March is a packed month, and Santorum's going to have to win some big states if he's going to have a chance to really compete with Romney.
Goldie, weigh in on this, because we do know that Santorum, one of the things he's popular for is that he is very true to his beliefs. So do you think what he's saying is necessarily a bad thing?
You know, I think for the kinds of races that Santorum has the ability or the possibility of winning, what he's saying is a good thing. I mean, he's very good in caucuses where the most conservative Republicans tend to turn out, and that's where Santorum's sweet spot happens to be. You know, there is a coalescing, you know, of grassroots conservatives around him, you know, sort of the diehard true conservatives around him, and I think that's what he has to take forward through both February and into March. You know, does he have a real pathway to the nomination? It is extraordinarily narrow, maybe a bit more broad than maybe a Newt Gingrich has, but extraordinarily narrow. I think what happens is that the race gets drawn out a bit more, possibly into early April, but Mitt Romney does come away with it.
All right, I want you guys to weigh in on one very controversial issue, but I don't have a lot of time. So you're going to have to follow my rules here. We've seen in the last few weeks the controversy over mandatory contraception coverage. The White House is trying to find some sort of a compromise here. We're going to hear students weighing in on this as well. So women would get coverage from an outside plan and religious employers wouldn't have to pay. Answer me in one of these three ways. And no expanding on that answer, please. The big issue, is it a big issue now? Will it be a big issue in the general election, or is it a non-issue? Goldie.
It's a big issue now.
Matt.
Big issue now, big issue later, unless they're able to get a compromise that satisfies all sides.
Ed.
Big issue now, but it's the right issue.
All right, Ed, Matt, Goldie, thank you very much for playing
you.
this morning. We appreciate it.